Good morning, young minds. Yashwantrao Chauhan, Maharashtra Open University, in accordance of National Education Policy 2020 अंडरग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम के अंतर्गत बीकॉम फर्स्ट ईयर के साथियों के लिए सेमेस्टर 1 बुक द मेकिंग ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया में दिए गए महत्वपूर्ण प्रश्नों को आज हम आसानी से समझेंगे। आज हमारा यूनिट 1 द जेनेसिस ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का लास्ट पार्ट है, पार्ट 3। From which ideological backgrounds did members of the Constituent Assembly comes and how was the Constituent Assembly of India formed? The members of the Constituent Assembly may not have represented every single community numerically, but they stood for justice to all sections of society. They raised fundamental issues of the oppressed and ensured that the Constitution embodied the blood aspirations of the people. Leadership was not merely symbolic but substantive, backed by deep commitment to national unity and constitutional values. Next is to describe the ideological spectrum of the Indian Constituent Assembly. Out of these 389 seats, the Congress won 208 seats, while the Muslim League won 73 seats. After the partition of India, many Muslim League members withdrew, reducing the assembly's strength to 299 members. Representation was broadly based on the principle of population, and separate electorates were provided for Muslim and Sikhs. The foundation of this Constituent Assembly was the Provincial Legislative Assembly elections of 1946. Out of 1,585 total seats in these elections, the Congress secured over 900 seats, while the Muslim League won over 425 seats. Though Congress emerged as the largest party, the League's performance was significant as it captured nearly 90% of the seats reserved for Muslims, thereby establishing itself as the sole representative of Muslims. This strengthened its demand for Pakistan, eventually leading to partition. By contrast, the Hindu Mahasabha secured only one seat each in Bombay and the central provinces, showing that communal politics did not dominate the Constituent Assembly. As the Congress emphasizes the idea of an integrated India with support from all communities. However, it is important to note that only 28.5% of the adult population had the right to vote in these elections. After partition, the representations of the princely states was reduced from 99 to 70 members. Still, efforts were made to include members from diverse backgrounds. Thus, the Constituent Assembly of Independent India came to represent a wide spectrum of society. Next question is, how many committees and subcommittees were formed for making of the Constitution of India? Several committees and subcommittees were formed for making of the Constitution of India. Although there were 22 committees in total, 5 committees played the most crucial role. Next question is, what was the first committee? The first committee was the steering committee chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Its responsibility was to ensure smooth functioning and coordination among all committees. Next question is, describe the drafting committee. Drafting committee chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Even more important was this committee had the most significant task preparing the draft constitution after considering the suggestions and recommendations from other committees. Its members included N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar, K. M. Munshi, Mohammad Saidullah, B. L. Mittal, D. P. Khaitan, N. Mahadev Rao, and T. T. Krishnamacharya. B. L. Mittal resigned and was replaced by N. Madhav Rao. After the death of D. P. Khaitan, T. T. Krishnamacharya was appointed. Dr. B. R. Ambedkar is rightly called the architect of the Indian Constitution because of his leadership in this process. Next question is, describe committee on union province relations and the division of powers. Two other important committees, both chaired by Jawaharlal Nehru, deal with the union province relations and the division of powers. These committees also played a major role in shaping the federal structure of India and in integrating the princely states. These committees also played a major role in shaping the federal structure of India and in integrating the princely states. Next question is describe the advisory committee. The final major committee was the Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal Areas, chaired by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. This committee's work resulted in Part 3 of the Constitution, Fundamental Rights, which is the core of the Constitution. The Constitution recognizes certain fundamental rights of individuals, and in case of violation, a person could directly approach the courts. These rights were therefore considered inalienable. The drafting of fundamental rights involved long debates and detailed discussions, but finally consensus was achieved. The work of other committees was also important, but the contribution of these five committees were the most decisive. They followed democratic principles, listened to all viewpoints, and prepared the draft that ultimately became the Constitution of India. Next question is describe the sessions of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly held a total of 11 sessions for the purpose of constitution making. These sessions can be divided into three main stages. First is drafting, second is debate and deliberation, third is adoption. Next question is when was last session of the Constituent Assembly? The Constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949 at the last session of the Constituent Assembly. In the final stage, the Assembly considered several suggestions and amendments before approving the draft. What is Constituent Assembly? The institutional body entrusted with the special responsibility of framing the constitution of a country. Now we understand what is colonialism and what is capitalism. The meaning of colonialism. The process by which a militarily powerful and economically advanced nation captures a territory, establishes a colony, imposes political control, and exploits its resources for their own economic gain. Colonialism is considered a specific form of imperialism. Now, next question is what is capitalism? An economic system in which the means of production and ownership of property are largely in the hands of private individuals or companies. The economic functions on the basis of demand and supply, with profit as the central motive. The role of the state is to ensure freedom for individuals to pursue their own interests and minimal government intervention in the economic is emphasized under capitalist philosophy. ये यूनिट 1 के 3 सेट पूरे हो गए हैं. अब हम मेकिंग ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के यूनिट 2 को अगले वीडियो में डिस्कस करेंगे. थैंक यू फ्रेंड्स फॉर वॉचिंग.